Hey guys, while scouring the internet, I actually came across a fantastic author on No Sleep. I contacted him asking for permission to narrate his catalog, and he gave me the go-ahead. So me and Lance Creepy Reads will narrate them for you today. Sit back, relax, turn down the lights, and welcome to my dungeon. These are 3 No Sleep stories, with 1 extra.
Have you ever had one of those feelings that something was wrong? I don't mean during the day either, but at night. I mean that sudden, unprovoked feeling of dread that commands you to wake. Funny. It's almost like nocturnal evil gives something off that your sleeping brain picks up on. I had one of those recently. It forced me up at 3 a.m. Normally, when you have that feeling, you'd lay still, feigning sleep. Or, if you're feeling adventurous, you'd take a quick check around the house. After you failed to discover anything, you'd inevitably crawl back to sleep. I should have done that this time. I should have stayed asleep. That night I sat straight up. For the longest time I sat there, staring into the dark of my house, before I even realized that I was awake. Then came the fear. That slow, strangling feeling that constricts your chest and worms its way down your throat. I couldn't hear the telltale signs of a break-in downstairs, or the phantom sounds of a leaking pipe. I had no reason to be freaked out. But I was. Without much thought, I got up and walked over to the window. I don't know why I did. I peeled back just enough of the curtain to poke my head through, and I stared out into my moonlit backyard. I should have stayed asleep. Outside, prancing around my garden, was a clown. It had ruffles around its sleeves and collar, baggy pants and floppy shoes. Its painted white face was even topped off with a big red rubber nose. It was, without a doubt, the last thing I wanted to see at 3 in the morning. It danced in complete silence, doing a step that only a madman or a child could understand. Its playful manner was haunting. I watched with dreadful fascination as it circled the garden, trying my best to ignore the growing lump in my throat. It moved around, pausing occasionally to play with my gardening tools or sniff the budding plants. Then it waltzed over to an oak sapling I had planted and disappeared. I blinked. This wasn't possible. It walked behind the thin infant plant, but didn't come out the other side. I should have seen it the entire time, but I didn't. It was like the clown had walked through a door hidden by the sapling. I should have stayed asleep. I hoped that everything was some sort of waking dream. Pretending nothing happened was easier than the truth. The clown came back, though. Night after night. I watched it as it danced around my backyard, and at the end of every night, it would vanish the same way. One night, it disappeared behind a garden hoe, only for it to reappear seconds later from behind the lawnmower. Tonight, I found it digging a hole in the middle of the yard. I've never seen it do something like this before. and my immediate thought was that the clown was digging my grave. The hole got deeper and deeper as the clown dug, until the top of the hole reached its head. Once finished, it stood at the edge of the hole, motionless. When out of nowhere, it jerked its head around. My heart pounded so hard that I could taste the copper in my mouth. I was about to tear away from the curtain when I saw it bend down and pluck up a flower. The clown put the stem between its teeth and planted the shovel firm in the ground before stretching out pretend suspenders and admiring its work like a farmer. My heart was still racing at this point, but I was just glad that it didn't see me. As if the thing had read my mind, it turned on its heel and stared right at me. I never thought that I would actually pray for a heart attack. It spit out the flower and ran toward me, its feet flopping to the sides. It stopped feet in front of the house, grinning at me with filthy orange teeth as it pointed to the hole and waved me over excitedly, like a child showing off a finger painting. Frozen in place, the only thing I could do was furiously shake my head no. The clown's smile fell, and it scratched its head as if confused. Then it walked over to the hole and pointed at it again. I would have told it to fuck off if I could. It stood there for a moment before animatedly acting out its aha moment. It then waltzed over to a planted shovel and disappeared behind it. I stared wide-eyed, hoping it would reappear in the yard like before. I silently prayed for this, until the moment I heard my closet door creak open. I should have stayed asleep.
I borrowed a flash drive by 10 gentlemen. I've never liked group projects. I was always the guy that ended up doing the most of the work while we both shared the credit. As you can imagine, I was less than ecstatic to hear that we'd be working in pairs for our final project in my history class. My eyes already rolled halfway to the back of my skull by the time Mr. Connors got done saying that. I tuned him out and figured I'd wait until he started assigning us groups when I saw the whole class descend and pair up. Perfect, I thought. Now I have to ask someone to be my partner too. I managed to get through the entire semester without having to talk to anyone in the class. So now, at the very end, I have to take the initiative and introduce myself. I started to get out of my seat when a guy my age approached me.
Hey, I'm Steve. Do you have a partner yet?
It was pretty clear I didn't, but he was just being polite. Hey, I'm Manny, I replied. But I'm down to partner if you are.
Sweet. What were you thinking we should do the project on?
Steve and I decided that we would tackle the beginnings of Rome for our project. We'd each duly write the essay and take turns creating slides in our PowerPoint. Over the course of the next few weeks, I grew to consider Steve a friend. We hung out a few times outside of the project and started getting to know each other pretty well. He was pretty smart. I put a lot of effort. I was certain that we were going to get an A. When it came to the day before presentation, it was my turn to go over all of it and finalize everything.
Hey, just take my flash drive. It'll be what we use when we present anyway. And since you're finishing everything up, you might as well just save it on there.
Sweet, thanks. I got home and started up my PC. I planned on getting a good night's rest, but I wanted this project done ASAP. When I put the flash drive in, I saw that there was only one folder labeled Don't. I didn't think much of it. We all name folders weird and stupid shit. I clicked on Don't and was greeted with Don't. This was the guy that liked the Lairs folders. Don't led to stop. And that led to no. Which led to wrong. Which led to okay. Steve was a jokester. The guy was fucking with me. Okay was an empty folder. There were several folders in there, all of which were picture and video folders, all with similar names like perfect or divine or glorious. I clicked on the first folder labeled perfect. How else was I going to find the goddamn PowerPoint? All I saw was a video with a black thumbnail. Now, I'm not usually one for snooping, but I was pretty curious about what this could be. An embarrassing student film? Well, he's my first friend ever, so might as well figure this out. The video started from the point of view of a room, no people in sight. About 20 seconds in, Steve entered, took off his pants in front of the camera, and that's when I quickly exited the window. Shit, clue's out now. Oh God. A part of me thought he intentionally gave me this for that purpose, but there were a lot of folders here. I chalked it up to him not realizing I'd view that. I didn't have any business opening the video file after all. I wanted a PowerPoint. I went back to OK and clicked on the next folder, Pristine. The folder was filled with tons of photos of women. Older women. The ages seemed to range between 40 and 70. Some from seemingly professional photo shoots, and some were selfies. In every photo, the women were smiling. Next folder, Love. This folder was filled with more photos of women. Steve were in some of these. His mom's friends, his grandmother's. Some of these photos started to get a little risque. Steve liked older women, I guess. I'm not gonna judge. Perfection, pretty, and cute were all photos of women. The same women would only appear in 3 to 4 photos. I found it odd he was around so many older women, but I was sure that there was a reason. At this point, I was bored with these and just wanted to find a project. I was getting tired. Well, I definitely found a project. Life. Life wasn't like the other folders. It had another folder inside of it, with random letters and numbers. Same as the name. I wish I never clicked on that folder. Inside that folder were tons of photos of corpses. All female. Some were laid out on a table. Others were cut up in bathtubs. I was in shock. What the hell was I looking at? I started to recognize some of these women from the previous photos. These were all those women that Steve knew. He took these photos. I hoped that this was some sort of special effects photo shoot, but that hope dwindled quickly when I saw the detailed organs removed from the bodies of these women. I wanted to vomit, honestly. But instead, I just looked away. What the hell should I do? Call the police? Obviously, but what do I say? Why did Steve give me this flash drive? I found myself pacing in my room when I saw my phone light up. It was Steve.
Hey, Manny? I gave you the wrong flash drive. Can I swing by and trade it off?
This is a text message. He doesn't think I've opened it. I could just take it and give it to him like nothing happened. Or is it a trap? Does he want me to think that he knows that I saw it? I don't know what to do. I didn't want to deal with all this shit. I locked up my house and sent a reply that said, I saw what was on the flash drive. There was no reply. I called the police and tried to put together what I saw as uncomfortably as I could. As I lifted my phone to call, I decided to look at the contents of the flash drive one more time. There's only one more folder, and I hoped it would help me make sense of all this. And it was labeled Grave. Grave was filled with screenshots of various emails. I tried to skim them as well as I could, and I noticed that they were all from an individual woman. I saved the photo of one email and deciphered it as follows. Dear the Butcher, my name is Elena Berdew. I'm from Rochester, New York. I'm 68 years old. My husband Peter's passed away last summer, and we have no children. I live out my days by myself in my home. I wake up, cook my meals, watch TV, and go back to sleep. The light of my life is gone. I miss Peter. I miss feeling. I have decided to contact you about your services. I no longer wish to be here, and I'm ready to cross. I can fly out to you as soon as you can have me. Many of my questions suddenly had answers. I was at a loss of words. These women were contacting him. They knew what they were doing. My trance of alarm was interrupted by a knock on my door. It was the police. I let them in and showed them everything, and they were just as disturbed as I was. And they asked me many questions I robotically answered while I was still in this strange state of shock. They took the flash drive as evidence and got Steve's address from me. Steve hung himself in his apartment. By the time the police got there, it was too late. There was no note, but it was obvious why he did it. I spent many weeks trying to find out about the butcher online. There had to be some trace. Unfortunately, as you can imagine, that's a pretty generic thing to search. It was only yesterday when searching on Google with the results set to today, I found a match. It's a long thread on a forum, the title, Who Took the Butcher From Us? My 4-year-old never wants to sleep anymore. I need advice. By 10 gentlemen. Please just go to sleep. I begged. I pleaded. I'm a single mother working 2 jobs. I had Benny when I was 27. It was a few weeks after my wedding when I found out I was pregnant. My husband Scott and I were so excited after many unsuccessful attempts. I was so happy to finally get pregnant. I had a rather easy pregnancy, much like my mother. Scott and I read up on everything, took classes, and made sure we were more than prepared for bringing a life into this world. The day I gave birth to Benny was one of the happiest days of my life. Benny was an active child from the moment I brought him home. He was attempting to talk long before he knew any words. He started walking before his first birthday, and after that, he was unstoppable. Benny was a handful, but I loved him and I wouldn't have it any other way. I found out Scott was cheating on me about 10 months ago. My world was broken. I didn't want to try to make it work. Once a cheater, always a cheater. I didn't care. I didn't want any excuses. I was just done. I decided it would be best for Scott to leave while I stayed in our home. I took up another job and was able to keep things afloat. What comes with working 2 jobs and raising a son by yourself is a whole lot of sleep deprivation. I am always tired, but I won't rest until Benny passes out. What kind of mother would I be if I didn't make sure my child was asleep and safe first? I didn't have many friends, but from what I can see on my Facebook, the struggles of getting your child to fall asleep is shared by most. Why is this such a difficult thing to accomplish? I just want my baby boy to go to bed. Put him in his crib with a toy and I left the room for a few minutes. By the time I return, he still isn't asleep. He's just sitting there staring at me. I don't want to force his eyes shut, but they just won't close. He hasn't grown in at least a year. It doesn't bother me. I need him to develop at his own pace. And I know what you're going to say. I should read him a story. I'd prefer not to. The room reeks of copper from the moment you enter it. I haven't bathed Benny in months. He's at the point now where if I scrub the skin, it's gonna start to come off. A few weeks ago, I sat him out on the play carpet, and his neck fell backwards. There isn't enough time in the day to sew it shut. Benny's going to have to learn to adjust. Benny's generally a good kid. Doesn't fuss, doesn't hit, doesn't cry. I'm happy to have raised such a good kid without Scott. Scott didn't deserve to have this part of him. He thinks I'm crazy, but I can do it all by myself. He needed to go. Being a single mother has its hurdles. It's exhausting. I know I do my best, but sometimes I need a little bit of help. So please, if anyone could tell me, how do I get Benny to go to sleep?
I Can See Tomorrow Out of My Left Eye by 10 Gentlemen. I'm sorry, ma'am. Your daughter is blind in her left eye. That's what my mother was told. I understand why they told her that. My left eye was unresponsive. I couldn't react to whatever it was that they were doing when they were trying to figure out what was wrong with it. My left eye didn't follow the light. I couldn't read what was on the wall. I failed every test. What they didn't know was that I was able to see all of that just 24 hours prior. For as long as I can remember, my left eye has seen things the day before they've actually happened, right down to the minute. I can only hear sound from the present. I am by all means still here in the present. I just get a whole side of eyesight that lets me see things that are going to happen. My left eye always follows my right one. When I look to the right in my world, both eyes follow, meaning that I'm looking to the right in the future as well. I think that future me is just a vision, not a sentient person. Nobody in the future seems to acknowledge my eyes moving all around in every direction. I purchased an eye patch a few years back. Most people figured it was to cover up my blind eye. I use it for that when I go about my day, keeping my left eye closed under the eye patch. But in private, I put it on my right eye and look into the world of tomorrow. Some of you might be wondering, if you see things before they happen, why haven't you tried to prevent them? And, well, the truth is, I have. And I've been successful. I see questions on a test before I take it, allowing me to ace every test I take. I see when there's going to be traffic, so I leave earlier. I have a pretty good system figured out. It's no longer something that scares me. It's a gift. Until tonight. I woke up and jumped out of bed. Something felt off. I looked out to my window and saw that it was still dark. In my left eye, the sky was lit up. What was going on? I put the eye patch over my right eye and followed future me as I walked around my apartment and turned on the TV. There was an emergency alert. My eye has always been a gift to me. I don't care to see out of both eyes, when I can have a guide to life in my left one. My life has been amazing. I've been able to get top grades, make money, and save friends from making fatal errors. I've always known what to do by looking with my left eye. Now, there's nothing I can do. Nothing I can possibly do can prevent this. I now must decide how to spend my last day on Earth. Because tomorrow, we enter nuclear war.
Hey guys, if you want to see more content like this, consider going to my Patreon and leaving me a few dollars to help me continue the show. Otherwise, consider looking at Lance Creepy Reads. You can find one of his videos linked right here. Thanks for watching.